It's a Monday, August 12th, a Duffy's MVP Monday, and I'm feeling good. It's your boy Theo, Dorsey, Katt on the other side of the glass on the ones and twos. And as we come off of a weekend where we got full slate of preseason games in the NFL, we got some of the biggest, most impactful moments in Olympic basketball that I can recall, and I'm sure you as well, Katt. And also, of course, we have a new update, more stuff on Noah Lyles, who, by the way, as the United States wrapped up the Paris Summer Games in 2024, I look at the total medal count, and 126 total medals for the Americans, 91 for China. Big gap of a win right there. Bronze medals, we got them beat as well, 42-24. No competition. Silver, same thing, 44-27. But lockstep with China in the gold medal race, 40 apiece. And Katt, I don't like ties. I like wins. And there's one singular person I can blame for America not having the edge in the gold medal battle. I think it would have to be Noah Lyles. I mean, I know what he did in the 100-meter earned us a gold medal, but what he sacrificed us both in the 200 and the 4x1, I mean, those could have been two more. If he's the guy he's been pumping his chest up to be, we would have had 42. We would be atop the podium by ourselves. I'm still a little disheartened by that, Katt.
He talks an awful lot, man. He does not shut his mouth.
No.
Like, he's just a yapper, certified extraordinaire.
It's absolutely going to be one of the biggest takeaways, one of the biggest memories from these Olympics is the Noah Lyles experience. However you define that, very, very little fans in his corner, many people against what he had going, especially outside of the events he was running. But at the end of the day, again, we win the Olympics. The United States wins the Olympics. And I'm curious to you because this was a very entertaining Summer Games. It was a fun one. Of course, this is a Duffy's MVP Monday. So we'll be giving out the MVP candidates throughout, as well as giving the winner of the Duffy's MVP, which athlete, coach, person in sports impressed the most over the weekend. And it's hard not to think about what happened with Team USA basketball over the weekend. To me, that's going to be the thing that sticks out the most to me when I look back on these Summer Games from 2024. It was not just the way in which the Americans won, both with the men's and the women, against France in Paris, right? Like at their home court against the team that was, had all their fans in the gym and whatnot. But I think the biggest thing for me, the biggest takeaway, the biggest memory, the thing I'll never forget about these Summer Games is there is no gap anymore when it comes to basketball with Team USA versus the world. And if there is one, like that gap is now like closer to like Mahomes' lead over the other quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Whereas like, yes, there's a gap. There's a clear number one. There's a favorite. The United States basketball teams, both on the men's and women's side, are going to be the favorites every single year. We have the biggest stars. We have the biggest names. We are the deepest, but they can be beat. And that's the same thing on the NFL side. Patrick Mahomes, clear-cut, best talent we've ever seen at that position in the history of the NFL and the best in the league right now. But he can be beat. Joe Burrow got him once. Tom Brady got him twice in the playoffs. Can be had, but again, always going to enter as the favorite. Is that a good analogy of what we have going now with basketball, as we saw that Team Serbia almost got the United States? Like that one came down to a nail-biter. France gave them everything they could handle. And then on the women's side, I mean, 61 straight wins, 8 straight gold medals, but a 1-point win, and we're talking about the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, as much of an American supremacist I am, as much of a patriot really I am, and I love this country, I also love great television, and
Yes.
I love drama. So I'm not complaining about sweating out a Sunday afternoon hoping America wins the tiebreaker. I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever, because if we are head and shoulders above everybody every single year, sure, that's great for the American ego, but it's really not good for the drama.
It's not. And honestly, that's what made this Summer Games so much more exciting. Like, number one, in that 100-meter dash, though, again, I've been, wishy-washy on what Noah Lyles is and what he means and what he stands for. That finish, undoubtedly incredible. It's a photo finish in maybe the most important race in the Summer Games, and the Americans did take it. And then you look at basketball, which we're used to just dominating. we're used to just going out there and you roll the balls out and between LeBron and Carmelo Anthony and Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade or whatever stars we have out there, we roll our way to victory. But again, the memory I'll have from this, the long-standing memory I'll have from this is how the gap has closed. How the gap is closed, and I got that from that semifinal game against Team Serbia, which I would argue a greater game from start to finish than what we got in the gold medal game, which was still fantastic. But then you have people like Mike Greenberg on Get Up this morning calling what Steph Curry did against Team France the single greatest shot in the history of basketball, not just Olympics, not NBA, not college, any level of basketball. Mike Greenberg saying that Steph Curry's jumper is the single greatest shot. So to him, that's his favorite memory. That's the thing that's going to resonate the most with him. Can we hear the call on NBC of that Steph Curry step-back three-pointer, double covered, and that was the ultimate dagger, the fourth that he had under 3 minutes in that game.
Back to Curry, dancing on Batum, over the double team. Oh! It's a golden dagger! Night! Curry, unconscious in the fourth.
He's a bad boy! Night!
That call courtesy of Noah Eagle and our guy Dwayne Wade, Heat culture, by the way, resonating all through the national airwaves these days. But I ask you, what stands out the most to you from these summer games? What is going to be your most glaring memory from the United States' dominance in the Paris 2024 summer games? For me, it's the gap being closed, but Team USA pulling it out both on the men's and women's side in basketball. For Mike Greenberg, he says that's the greatest single shot in the history of the game that Naismith created. What is it for you? 888-760-3776. 888-760-3776. Hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline. And you know the number, and you also know how great Baptist Health Orthopedic Care can be for you. Are you experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field? Baptist Health Orthopedic Care is a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to learn more today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. It combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide advanced orthopedic, foot and ankle, joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County through the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho. And I promise today here on Theoretically Speaking, zero, absolutely no trash talking of Jason Tatum. I hated that I had to mention it last time we were here on the airwaves. But again, now that he's both outed himself as a person that is a little sensitive to this stuff, is sensitive to the DNPs in pivotal games for Team USA, and also maybe not getting the credit he believes he deserves. He got his gold medal. He got himself a finals championship in the NBA, so he's officially a world champion, Noah Lyles. Two-sided world champion, so no more hating out of you. And I'll give him a break. I want the guy to enjoy the rest of his offseason before he has to come back to the league and fail at defending his title. I want him to have some peace, some happiness for once.
Yeah, I guess so. We kind of opened up the really dam broke with us live on the air, and I feel like it opened the door for everybody else to talk more trash about Jason Tatum and Jason Tatum's mom, who was barking like an AAU basketball coach about playing time.
Like, what is happening there? And I get the criticism of Steve Kerr because it's going to be a while. I think we're going to need some separation from his career as a coach to really dig into what he actually means, how elite level of a tactician, a strategist is he. We know he's pretty damn good at massaging egos and dealing with what you need to be as an NBA head coach in the locker room. But he's been overly criticized in these summer games, despite the Americans winning, and also despite the fact that he's a guy that you would think has enough cachet, right? With the championships he's won with the Warriors, with his ability to not, I don't think he was a part of that. Yeah, he wasn't a part of that Redeem Team stuff. Everybody's calling for Steve Kerr's neck, whereas I would look at it and say, what is the one thing Jason Tatum does better than anybody else on that Team USA basketball roster? Like, what is the one thing that he does that can't be replicated by a guy that's doing more things, more versatile than he, that are getting those minutes? And I'd argue not one, because he's not really that good at long-range shooting, which is what you needed, right, to create more spacing for guys like LeBron and guys like Steph and Curry to be able to work that two-man game. And then also not the best playmaker. Like, he just wasn't needed on this roster. He'll be needed more in 2028 in L.A., though, because we won't have LeBron, we won't have KD, we won't have Steph Curry. And I think that, Katt, is just like in these past playoffs when we were celebrating the fact that LeBron, KD, and Curry all were bounced in the first round, and we get to look at what the future of the NBA is without them. Like, the future of Team USA basketball in 2028 without those three guys, like, it might be a bronze or a silver medal for Team. I'm nervous.
I like how we started with the topic of saying we're not going to talk about how Jason Tatum isn't good enough to get minutes on this team, and then we just talked every reason why he's not getting minutes.
I mean, it's true, though. Like, maybe in 2028 he will develop his game into somebody that's more needed, more necessary there. But with what Team USA had on the court, like, even when he got in the gold medal game, the impact was futile. Like, it could have been anybody else doing that. I wanted to see more of Anthony Edwards, who, by the way, my take into the house was France covering, USA winning, Anthony Edwards 10 points. Did you see his final stat line?
No.
8 points.
Ooh.
8 points in 9 minutes. It wasn't his time. This was all about the old guard going out. LeBron James got the Olympic MVP. Steph Curry with the 25 points. I think his last 26 three-point attempts in the past 2 games, he hit 17 of them. Like, he was just unconscious. It wasn't about Anthony Edwards this year, but I do tell you, the ramp-up between Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Edwards, I would even say Devin Booker, coming off of these summer games, like, those dudes, the inspiration they probably gathered from this run, as well as, like, the tension and all of those close games and seeing it from up close, like, be on the lookout in the NBA this year. There's going to be a lot of good that comes out of what happened over the weekend with the Olympic basketball finals, and especially those guys coming out of Team USA. It's always a great thing. And hopefully, Eric Spoelstra and Bam Adebayo were able to get into our guy's ear, Anthony Edwards, and just plant those seeds to harvest later on. It's real warm year-round out here in South Florida. Heat culture, you ain't got to deal with stuff like ownership issues and is it Glenn Taylor, is it going to be Alex Rodriguez? You don't have to deal with Rudy Gobert. I'm just saying, Anthony Edwards to the Heat eventually. Hopefully that's what comes out of this Olympics as well, because that would warm my heart.
I got a question for you that might be off the reservation and might be off topic, but it's eating me up inside. Watching Steph Curry shoot the basketball is majestic. And I want to ask you, if you could pick between the two, would you rather be the greatest shooter of all time or the greatest dunker of the basketball of all time?
Easily the greatest shooter, especially in this generation, because that translates so well in so many places. Like, you think about the greatest dunker in basketball in NBA history, like, I guess you go Vince Carter, you think about Shawn Kemp, Blake Griffin would probably want to throw his name in that hat. Like, obviously the big ones like Michael Jordan, but there's, like, if you're one of the greatest shooters of all time, your impact in basketball is felt way more. It resonates way more than the guys that are just elite dunkers. Like Nate Robinson, we're going to remember him more for getting punched out by Jake Paul over the pandemic than we are for those dunk contests. Like, that's at least going to stick with me more. Whereas Steph Curry, I mean, it's beautiful. It's majestic. It's hard to replicate. And also, when that ball comes off his fingertips, especially like on that last step back three, Katt, like, there's no feeling in the world like having a guy that's that inevitable from three and having him just keep draining on you time after time after. Like, I would hate to be going up against that.
Yeah, when do you think the pendulum swung to where everyone would answer shooter nowadays? When do you think you just Curry? 2015, 2016, that's when it changed?
It was when everybody was lined up against those Golden State Warriors, and you had guys like Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA saying you can't win a championship as a jump shooting team. You had so many detractors about what they were building out there with the greatest backcourt when it comes to shooting in NBA history. But I do think that not only did Stephen Curry change the way that the game is played at all levels, he made shooting like that at that high of a clip, like, popular, cool. He made it also a winning formula. And that's why everybody's replicating it. Not, like, now you see 7-footers like Victor Wembanyama, 7'5", out there shooting deep three-pointers, and it's normal. Back then it would have been like, what the hell are you doing out there?
It's also a task that is achievable for anybody. I mean, if you're a fourth grader, you can't practice your dunks. If you're a fourth grader, you can practice your three-point shot.
And I would argue the one thing, out of all the greatness that Stephen Curry has brought, and again, if we don't get this gold medal without him, this is the perfect stamp on what is a legendary top 10, top 12 all-time career for Stephen Curry. He may have ruined youth basketball.
Yeah.
He may have absolutely, like, I don't know how often you're around, like, AAU games or how many times you've gone to Little League games since. I've seen plenty of them either covering stuff for ESPN West Palm Play. By the way, subscribe on YouTube at ESPN West Palm, ESPN West Palm Play, your best local coverage out here. Also, I did some refereeing back when I was in Houston before I came here to ESPN West Palm. And the amount of kids, because they see what Steph Curry does, and you mentioned this before, Katt, he's not like a superhuman. He's not an alien. He looks like somebody that you can reach out and touch and be like. So many kids think that they can shoot it from 30 feet plus, and they're heaving it. They're heaving it up there time and time again, and coaches are giving them the green light, and it makes for some terrible basketball on the youth level. Terrible.
It does. It does. Because when you can shoot at the volume of Steph Curry, you can't have the efficiency, so it's a whole lot of bricks.
Yes. A lot of bricks, and then you make that one shot, and then you're throwing you're doing the Carmelo three ball to the head, stuff all the way down the court. You're throwing up all these signs. You're 1 for 8, son.
Because that one shot that you do make makes the mixtape, and it looks really cool.
Oh, yeah.
You do not include the ones that go off the side of the backboard from the corner.
No, absolutely not. Why would you do that? Why would you be honest about what the whole picture looks like here? 888-760-3776. 888-760-3776. What is your resounding memory from these summer games? Katt, I'm curious what yours is. Should we get that after the break here?
We can go now.
Let's go. Katt, your biggest memory. What is going to stick with you the most from the 2024 summer games?
So, Olympic basketball happens all the time. We're going to see more gold medals from U.S. men's and U.S. women's, and we're going to see a lot of U.S. domination. What we're not going to see is simultaneous tragedy as well as victory by this French pole vaulter, Anthony Ammirati. Now, he did like 85% of what you got to do in a pole vault, where he ran, he stuck the pole into the thing, he got over the bar, except for one piece of his body. And that ended up being his Achilles heel. The manlyhood of him caught the bar, and that's why he didn't get over the bar. If you've seen it on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about.
The baby maker.
Everyone saw what he had packing. On a national scale, not a national scale, on a worldly scale, knew what Anthony Ammirati had beneath his, what is that, a unitard? Whatever that type of outfit is on the pole vaulter, where it cost him in the Olympics. But you know what? If there's a way to lose, that might be the best.
Yeah, I mean, I heard he got some kind of like brand deal offers after that as well. I'm sure he also got some DMs. That's one way to go out. I'm not mad at it.
I know. It sounds a little bit odd for me to pick that one moment out of all of the
it's a little
legendary, tear-inducing moments of these Olympics. Even the opening ceremony was something to remember. The closing ceremony with Tom Cruise was something to behold.
Yeah.
But a lot of U.S. victory. No, the French guy who got his thangy thing hit, and that was it. Yeah.
So you're telling me that video is just replaying in your mind over and over?
The more we talk about it, I'm thinking, damn, I'm putting myself in his spot.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, wow, if that happened to me, what would I do?
Would you be happy? Would you be excited about the fact that, like, hey, if I'm gonna go out, like, at least the people know I'm going out with a bang, right? I'm going out strong. I'm not going out looking bad.
You work 4 years for this pole vault, this singular moment, and all everybody knows you for is what you have beneath your drawers.
Well, you have a lot of people on our YouTube stream, and if you're not watching on YouTube now, at Theo Speaking, calling you out for being a little. Somebody saying you're the GOAT speaking, and others are saying, "Hey, relax, whoa, calm down. Maybe you should have picked something that was a little less. Let's just say erotic.
Yeah,
a little less erotic.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, that's not me. That's not me. You took the men's basketball. We're going to talk women's basketball later on. So, bronze medal for me was the pole vaulter who had his thing caught on the pole.
I took the men's basketball. He took the manhood. Katt right there. Theo here. We're going to have Mike Tannenbaum on here soon to talk what happened with the New York Jets. We got a trade request and then a denial of that trade request, and a guy that just got here moments ago and they didn't know he needed a new contract. There's a lot going on. And then also there's earthquakes hitting LA in the middle of shows, which I would be a mess if that happened to me. We address that and more on the other side. That's Katt. He still has that video of you, the Frenchman, getting your member caught on the pole in the pole vault. I'm Theo Dorsey. I'm more so thinking about that Steph Curry shot. Oh, my gosh.
Two different guys.
We're theoretically speaking on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.